Okay, let's find out where to stop sharing. Here's where we stop sharing. Here we are. It's all new.
We're in different places this time.
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
All new too. Okay, hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of astronomy edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Hey, doggy. Hey.
My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer. Canada, yay! Okay, I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moonshot Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul.
Hello.
And Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John. Well, there. Mike.
Evening.
And we'd like to welcome all of you tonight from YouTube and Facebook land, and all of you who are joining us tonight through the local Rogers TV network. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, now the warmer weather means more comfortable opportunities to get out under those dark skies and look up. Now, when we do, we can get overwhelmed, especially from dark sky. That's why we spend time on this program talking a lot about helping to find your way around the sky. Now, there are some prominent summer constellations, and those that make up the summer triangle, Cygnus, Lyra, and Aquila, are three that you will find directly overhead in the evening sky at this time of year. But we also tend to overlook a few of the smaller but no less important ones. This will be our focus on tonight's discussion, and we brought along back our local expert, Kurt Nason, to tell us all about them, including the legends behind them. Welcome back, Kurt.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Great to have you here.
On parole, they helped me out.
Also, Vinyl Bud will be back tonight with another fine binocular target of the week.
We found something.
Paul's going to deliver another amazing Rosanna's fun fact for us, and I'll have your wonderful photo submissions to share as well. So we're going to get started then with the discussion around the four little ones.
Okay.
Oh, and once again, Kurt, thank you very much for showing us the smiley face and Cygnus. That became Bino Bud's target last week. That was awesome.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you. Thanks for the picture.
Oh, yeah. For me, behind me, the relevance of the picture is because as the full black moon rises tonight, will have been the time when Neil and Buzz 55 years ago left the moon's surface. So anyway, here we go.
All right, the four little ones. Two of them are right in the middle here of the summer triangle, and two others are just outside of it. So we get the four little ones here, Vulpecula the fox. Now, this one is, the other three are ancient ones. They're in Ptolemy's 2nd century map of the sky. This one came later in the 17th century or so by Hevelius. A bit more on that. But he thought a fox being so cunning and rapacious, like very, very hungry all the time, quite a bit like an eagle is, and also like a vulture is. Now, a few hundred years ago, star maps would have Lyra, the harp, in the talons of a vulture. So they had the three birds up there. You had the swan, the vulture, and the eagle. And they also made, from mythology in the sky, the Stymphalian birds, part of the Hercules lore. We'll see that as well. So that's why how the fox got in there. Right, so Vulpecula means, it originally came in as vulpus, an answer. And vulpus means little fox in Latin. Answer means a goose. So originally it had a fox with a goose in the mouth. See in one of the old paintings here for star maps. There's a fox in here, and he's got a goose in his mouth. When they later on, I think they separated the two, had the fox and the goose. Then after that, maybe when they did the official constellations a century ago, it was just Vulpecula the fox. However, the goose still remains a little bit because up in here is the brightest star in Vulpecula. And its name is Answer, meaning goose. And it's right near his mouth there. So this was created by Hevelius in 1687, and Answer is 4.4 magnitude. And there's really, since it came that late, there's really no ancient Greek mythology or anything like that about it. And there's really not much in any other lands. In some Aboriginal, North American Aboriginal stories, one place did have the fox in here, at least the stars of the fox, along with those of Cygnus, is a grizzly bear climbing a mountain. Can't really picture that from these pictures here, but they could. They have better skies than I do. Now, although there's no mythology to that, there is an old puzzle, and you might have heard of that one. You probably know the answer to it. But there was a farmer, and he's going to market, and taking to market, he had a goose, he had a bag of corn, and he had a fox for some reason. And he had to cross a river to get to the market. Now, he had a very small rowboat. There's only room for him and one other thing in that rowboat. So he had to take these three over one at a time. But if he took the goose over, it'd be fine. That went first. If he took the corn first, the fox would eat the goose. And if he took the fox first, the goose would eat the corn. So he had to sit and scratch his head for a while and said, how am I going to do this? And then he said, I know this is going to happen. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends until the end of this. If you know that one, if you can figure it out, maybe you can post something up there, and maybe the first one to get it can win. We can give you a Laurel and Hardy handshake virtually, and you have your name set on the Saturday Night Astronomy Show. So we'll skip that for now. Now, Sagitta the arrow, right under the feet of the goose, or the fox. And it's one of those ones that looks exactly like what it's supposed to look like. Very small one, but you can see the fletching here, the two here, the feathers of the arrow. Older versions of it have it going the other way. And you got three stars along here that make the shaft, and a few other ones that are fainter, but these are three of the brighter ones here. The brightest one's actually this one here, Gamma Sagittae, and it is magnitude 3.5. Now, in mythology, there are stories here. A couple of them relate to Hercules. Prometheus, he is a Titan, and these are the Titans, were the half siblings of the Olympian gods, and rivals for the sky. And they've always had some big battles about that. Prometheus wasn't a monster; he was a man, and he was quite taken with humanity. And he stole fire from Mount Olympus and took it down to the earth, and he taught people how to start fires, and that way they could keep themselves warm in cold weather. Could also cook their food that way, which is a big boon for humanity. Now, this angered Zeus up there on Mount Olympus. So he didn't want humanity to have that control. So he got some revenge on Prometheus. He had him chained to the rocks up on the Caucasus Mountains. And he had an eagle come every day that would eat the liver out of Prometheus. Be a very painful experience. And over at night, the liver would grow back. So every day, this eagle would come up, eat his liver, tear it right out, then go away, come back again the next day, another meal of liver. Probably had no onions to go with it. So this is really wearing on Prometheus, but Hercules had come by and he killed the bird, the eagle, with an arrow. Now, Hercules' arrows, when he fought the Hydra had noxious breath and poisonous blood. So when he killed the Hydra, he took the arrows that he had and dipped them in the blood of the Hydra. And so they were poison-tipped arrows. So one of those arrows was shot at this eagle that was sent by Zeus, and he killed it. The other story about this, the sixth labor of Hercules dealt with these Stymphalian birds. And these were made by Artemis, and they were raised by Ares, which tells you got to be pretty vicious. These had beaks of brass, and their feathers were metal, and they could shoot the feathers. Right? So they're very dangerous birds. They were at some area, and some wolves were after them, so it scared them away. They moved to Arcadia, living in a marsh there. And they'd be out killing people, ripping them apart with those brass beaks and shooting them with their metal feathers, and ripping up the crops, things like that, causing general disruption. And so as one of his labors, Hercules had to go and kill these. And he came to this marsh, but his bulk was so great that he couldn't walk through it. He would just sink. So he had some help from Athena, and she had Hephaestus, who was the god of they lived in Mount Etna. He had the forge. So he made these giant musical instruments, well, castanets essentially. The Hercules would shake them and make a lot of noise. So he did that, and he scared those Stymphilia birds out of the marsh, and he started picking them off one by one with his poisoned arrows. He got several of them, but the rest of them flew away, and they never came back again. So he picked up the ones that he had and took them back to where he was coming from, and they showed the king that had him doing all these labors that he actually killed some of these. And the guy said he had realized that he had help from Athena by having those shaker things. So that labor was discounted. So he had two of his actual 10 labors discounted. He had to do two more. So that's why we have 12 labors of Hercules. That's a couple of tales for you. You'll get the point. Now, between the two constellations there, we have two Messier objects and two of the finest NGC ones that Alan Dyer made up and have in the Rask handbook. Now, the best one is M27. Now, I like this one because 50 to 60 years ago, I was a big Frank Mahovlich fan. So the big M, he always wore number 27. He made 27 famous. I think he was the first hockey player to wear 27. All right, so this one's got special meaning for me here. All right, so this one's the Dumbbell Nebula, and it gets that name from when you look at it in the small telescope, you can pick out a couple of ridges here. This is a planetary nebula. So you get two sides of it here like that. It looks like a weightlifter's dumbbell, or it could have been named after me. Maybe in a smaller scope or binoculars, you might get a little thing like that. It's fairly bright, magnitude 7.3, reasonably big for a planetary nebula, quite big, at about 6 arc minutes. And it's NGC 6853. And Paul probably has some great pictures of that there. It's a very common astrophotography target.
Mm-hmm.
You find it, here's the arrow here. And so you come down to the third one, right at the tip of the arrow, take a right angle turn, and come up here 3 degrees. Now here's the tail red circles here. This is 4 degrees across here. So you see M27 here, the dumbbell is right on the center one here. That's 3 degrees. So easily within a binocular view, if you just put Eta Sagittae in your bottom part of view, M27 should be up there in the top. They're also called the apple core nebula because of the little shape it makes there. With more modern, bigger telescopes and things like that, you start to lose all those shapes in there and you see more detail. And really if you want to see the actual, where these names came from, a lot of the modern pictures are just too much detail to even see it. I have finest NGC 106, which is NGC 6940. And to get that one, it's quite far. It's still within the bounds of Vulpecula. You can see the lines here for the boundary lines for the constellation. So it's still within it, right in here. So this is the boundary line here for Vulpecula, coming very, very close to Cygnus. In fact, here's the Western Veil right in here. And perhaps the best way to find it is to see 41 Cygni. And off in this direction, a couple of degrees away, is 39 Cygni. And this one's magnitude around 4. And this one appears to be about the same. So if you go from 39 to 40 and extend it in a straight line about that same distance, it will bring you up to NGC 6940, the finest NGC 106. And this one was discovered by Herschel in the 1780s. Of course, the Dumbbell Nebula was discovered by Messier. Now, one of the best asterisms you can come up with, they call it the coat hanger cluster, but now they're certain that it's not actually a cluster. The stars are going in different directions, so they're not gravitationally bound. So it's just a line of sight cluster like that. And so to find that one, maybe the best way is to go back to the arrow again, look at the feathers up in here, along the shaft of the feathers, and not quite, a little bit more than a right angle. And up in here, you see the coat hanger. It's upside down or slightly angled like that. And it's just under 4 degrees, or roughly 4 degrees. And again, with most binoculars, it would be in the same field of view as the arrow feathers in here. I use 15 by 63s, and they're just under 4 degrees wide, so I could do that and maybe get part of the coat hanger. And this was actually first seen or recorded by Al-Sufi in 964. Then in the 17th century, Odirna and put that on one of the star maps. In the 1920s, Brochi put that on a star map, I guess, with the AVSO. And so this is also called Brochi's cluster. And then in 1931, Pers Colander included it in his, that should be a 9 instead of a 10. 1931. Do that quite a bit. And he put that in his atlas or catalog of star clusters as well. So it's also Colander 399. And if you haven't seen it, go out and try it. It's a great binocular object. And it's big, 1.3 degrees, so you'd really need a wide field view of a telescope to get that. An Astroscan could pick it up, the moderate sized eyepiece. And there are 10 stars. You got 6 in a line here, and then the hook of the is made by 4 stars. And you also have finest NGC 105. Right, this is magnitude 8.8. And to find that, if you found the coat hanger cluster, you've probably seen it in your binoculars if you have big enough binos in a dark enough sky. It's right here, right on the eastern tip of the coat hanger. And so use the same thing you'd use to get to the coat hanger, just go to the eastern tip, and there you have it. And it's a little bit smaller there. It's size 3.2 arc minutes, so it's pretty good. It's got about 50 stars in it, so it's not a rich cluster, but it's fairly good. At magnitude 8.8, so should be certainly within range for binoculars. Again, this was discovered by Herschel. Go to within Sagitta, along here, go to Gamma and Delta in here, 2 brighter ones here on the shaft, and go about a little bit more than halfway from Delta to Gamma, and just underneath the shaft, and there's a globular cluster M71. It's 8th magnitude, so I've picked that up with my binoculars with no problem at all. And at 7.2 arc minutes, it shines up, and it's a small globular cluster. And for a long time, they weren't sure if it was a globular cluster or an open cluster, but now they've verified that it's a globular. It's NGC 6838 and was first recorded by French astronomer de Chazot in 1745. And it's got a nickname of the angelfish cluster. Then we move down to Delphinus, the dolphin. And this is a very pretty one. And it's not really bright. The brightest stars are 3.8 and 4.1, but it's a tight little, looks like a tight little cluster of stars in there. And it really stands out. It's not bothered by other bright stars around it like that. So you can see that one quite easily. And it fits in with the water constellations that are in the fall. You've got Aquarius and Capricornus and Pisces, all them dealing with water, and Cetus. So this is maybe a porpoise or a dolphin that really didn't want to get into fall. And it looks like it's jumping out of the water back in toward the summer constellations. And so it's very neat looking thing in here. There's 4 stars in here making a diamond shape. And then there's a long stretch down here to a dimmer star. That's the tail of the dolphin. And so you can really see a dolphin in that. Now, in other areas of the world, in China, they saw that as 2 gourds. So this is a ripe gourd, this one, and this is a rotten gourd down here. In some local indigenous ones in North America, this was seen as a slingshot, or again, or the belly of a sling in other spots. And some had it marked as a image of a rabbit's paw in the sky. And in Britain, and nobody knows where it came from, but this section in here is called Job's coffin. You can maybe take it now as Steve Jobs, but it's already been claimed by somebody named Job, maybe the biblical character. But for some reason, it has a coffin shape to it. And how it got tied into the Job or Job, nobody really knows. Now these 2 stars here, the Alpha and the Beta, strange names, Swalakan and Rodnev, and had a lot of people confused where that came from. This is from a few hundred years ago. But in the 1800s, Reverend Thomas Webb, who has a series of very famous astronomy books, so, I think it's 8 in the series. The 8th one was on variable stars that you don't find in most of the collections of it. All right, he figured it out. So if you look at these backwards, this reads Nicolaus Venator. Right? Now, Nicolaus Venator is the Latinized version of the guy named Niccolo Cacciatore. And he was the observatory assistant at Palermo Observatory. The director was Giuseppe Piazzi. He was the guy that first discovered Ceres, the first asteroid. And so this guy was left by himself in the observatory or making maps together and thought he'd pull a trick on people, and it got missed by at the time. And now they're official as the names of these stars. And there's actually a more modern version of this. Now, Gus Grissom, as they were back in the early 60s when they were doing the Apollo program, they had certain stars that they used for navigation. And all the stars had common names, they have to be very bright, but one of them didn't have a common name. And that's the one in the middle of the W of Cassiopeia. So he gave it a name. He called it Navi. And his middle name is Ivan. So Ivan backwards is Navi. Now in mythology, a couple of stories there for the dolphins. One, Amphitrite, she was a daughter of Oceanus, one of the ocean gods there, and Poseidon had designs on her, and he was always trying to get to her, but she'd run away or swim away from him. But there was a dolphin that friends of Poseidon, and the dolphin always rat her out, tell Poseidon where she was. And then the dolphin often go and speak with Aphrodite. And eventually he convinced her that Poseidon's not a bad guy after all. He'd make a really good husband. And so eventually they got married, and out of respect and thank for the dolphin, Poseidon put the dolphin up into the sky. Now there's another one, the story of Arion. And he was a musician, and he came from the island of Lesbos. And he played the lute and had a very fine voice and great musician that way. And he had moved to Corinth in Greece. And Periander is the king of Corinth. And the two of them went to Italy, and Arion would be putting on performances there, and everybody loved them. And they got very, very wealthy in Italy and moved back to Corinth. And after a while, Arion got missing his homeland. He wanted to go back for a visit. So, out of gratitude, then the king, he gave him a boat and a crew that would sail him back for a visit to Lesbos. Now, the people in the crew, he was taking some of his riches back with him. Now, the people in the crew knew that he was rich and he had all these riches with him. And so they schemed that once they get well out of sight of Corinth, they're going to toss Arion overboard and claim when they went back, they're going to claim that he had an accident and fell overboard there. And then they would keep all of his riches. So Arion overheard them talking about this. And so when it came time that they confronted him, he knew what was going to happen. So he asked them for one last favor, that he be allowed to play some music one more time. So he played this tune. It was sort of an ode to Apollo. And Apollo will be up on Mount Olympus watching that beautiful song. He played it on for a while. Then there were a bunch of dolphins that came up around to the ship and following it that way. They brought the music like that. Tempted by it. So after he finished the song, he rather than be thrown off or walk the plank or whatever he made him do, he just jumped overboard and went into the water because he knew he had no choice there. But a couple of stories here. Main one would be that Apollo, seeing this happen, he sent one of those dolphins to grab Arion and lift him up above the water and took him back to Corinth. And so at least back to Greece, and then when he got up on the shore, then he found his way back to Corinth and told the king what had happened. And eventually they saw that ship coming back in. So Periander was there, and also Arion. Arion a bit out of sight. So when the crew landed, they came in with their tale of woe about how Arion had jumped overboard or had an accident and fell over. The king then showed them Arion and had them all executed. And Arion kept his wealth, and everybody except the crew lived happily ever after. So much for those stories. Now, in the Dolphin here, they have a couple of globular clusters in here, and one is less than 10 or dimmer than 10th magnitude. There's one here that's magnitude 8.8. It's bright enough it made the Caldwell catalog made by Patrick Moore. Caldwell was his mother's maiden name, also his middle name. So he had a catalog of maybe 110 objects in there. And the finest NGC ones have some of the same as this. Okay, so this is NGC 6934, and it's down here just off the tail. Now, one way to do this is to follow along the tail a bit, and then maybe go to the tail star and come down 4 degrees. Just make a slight bend like that, 4 degrees away. So that's certainly within a binocular field of most of binoculars. And 8.8 magnitude, probably just within reach as well as a binocular object. So you just come down there to that tail star and down 4 degrees. That puts you into Caldwell 47. That was discovered in Herschel back in 1785. It's fairly small, 1.2 arc minutes. And this one, Equuleus, the little horse. Now, this was probably created by Hipparchus and was picked up by Ptolemy for his the Almagest, which is a star chart he made. Well, star charts are part of it. And it's the second smallest constellation. Crux is the only one that's smaller. And its brightest star is Catalpha, magnitude 3.9. And you see it's very tiny here, and it's just off the snout of Pegasus. M15 is just outside the boundary of it. And so there are really no deep sky objects in there. But in mythology, they think it could be Solaris, who was either the brother or the son of Pegasus. I say when Pegasus was formed from the head of Medusa, or the blood from the head of Medusa and seawater, Pegasus jumped out of the water that way, and apparently a second horse had come up too. So it could be a foal, the son of Pegasus, or it could be that second one that was formed at the same time. All right, so that's in a nutshell the 4 little ones. But back to this. Chris, did anybody come up with the answer?
Haven't seen anything yet, no.
Okay, do you guys know it?
Oh.
Okay, maybe it wasn't a famous puzzle after all. Okay, so what the farmer had to do, well, the only thing he could do first, he had to take the goose because he knew the fox wouldn't eat the corn. So he takes the goose over in the rowboat, rows back, gets the fox, puts the fox in, rows the fox over, puts the goose in the boat, rows the goose back, takes the corn, rows the corn over, that comes back and gets the goose, and everybody's across safely. So that worked. However, corollary to this one that I just made up. Meanwhile, the sly fox took the bag of corn, went off to another place. There's a poultry farm there, and he ripped the corn open, and a bunch of chickens come over, started eating the corn, and the fox fed on the house.
That's a pretty cunning fox.
That's a cunning fox.
Yep, that's why he's in the sky. You're so smart.
Okay.
Great stories, Kurt. Always, as always. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
No nightmares with these ones anyway, I don't think. Well, maybe.
Oh, it's a lot of targets to look at for
Yeah.
for the star parties, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delphinus.
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 I've learned how to pronounce it after all these years.
Yeah. Any updates on Blaze Star yet, Kurt? Or
Uh,
Still dimming.
been foggy.
Yeah.
So, hasn't blazed yet.
No. Okay.
I check it every clear night when I remember, but
Well, hopefully soon. I mean, you really wouldn't notice it, I guess, anyway, unless you knew exactly where to look and what you're
yeah,
looking
well,
at.
it's so roughly, because, just you've got that brighter star there, Alphecca.
Yeah.
And just a couple of stars up from it on the left-hand side. So you just need that general area.
Yeah.
And it should get almost as bright as Alphecca, which would be much brighter than any other star there in the crown.
Right.
So if you see a brighter star that shows up there, that would be it.
Okay. Awesome. That's the nova we're talking about. That's supposed to happen anytime now. If history proves true. Okay. Thanks, Kurt. Let's go on then to a Binal Bud maybe next. Mike.
Oh, but we can share here. 2 and share. All right. Binocular target of the week this week, and keeping with the conversation that Kurt was talking about, is the mini kite. What is the mini kite? Well, the mini kite, guess what? Dolphinus asterism, purchased below the imaginary connecting Altair and with Deneb in the Summer Triangle asterism. The Summer Triangle asterism shines far more brightly than the mini kite asterism and its dimmer stars. But a fun fact, even though we call this one the mini kite, there's a large kite, which is considered the constellation Bootes, which gives you that large looking kite in the sky. And then not to be left out, there's a third kite in the night sky, and it's called Kemble's kite in Cassiopeia. But we're going to talk about the one in my favorite constellation. So, in keeping with what we were talking about tonight, if you went out at 11 o'clock, oriented yourself at 115 degrees east-southeast and looked up, you're going to see the Great Swan Cygnus come on down, and you've got that summer triangle 1, 2, 3. Just draw that imaginary line between these two bright stars and look a little bit to the left, and guess what? You're going to find Delphinus, or Delphinius, as I used to call it. And again, that's what it looks like. But guess what? There's your kite and a long tail coming down. So that's why I got the little nickname mini kite. If you were looking up at it and taking a picture, what would it look like? This is it. It's got those 4 bright stars, and then it comes down here. That's the tail coming off the side. Now here's the good part. In a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars, depending on your field of view, you should just fit it in to 10 by 50 binoculars. It's huge as far as an asterism would go. It's far, far bigger than the coat hanger. But of course, when you look up, you can see it naked eye. But it does fit in my 10 by 50 binoculars. Compared to the full moon, 10 full moons across, easy. So that shouldn't be an issue. Take a look, go up. It's, like I said, one of my favorite constellations, actually, because just it's out there by itself and it stands right out. And easy to see in a pair of binoculars. Now, you ready for this one? Did you hear about the astronaut who brought a rocket to the party? It was a blast. That's Binocular Target of the Week by Binal Bud. There you go.
The kite was another one mentioned in this book of Indigenous Astronomy. So I was going to put that one in, but I forgot.
There you go.
Thanks, Mike. That's probably one of the biggest
target for tonight.
That's probably one of the biggest. That's probably one of the biggest Binal Bud targets I've seen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's what's 5 degrees, I guess.
Yeah.
There's also a mini coat hanger in Ursa Minor.
Yeah.
Use telescope for that one.
Yeah. I'll pick that one up sometime. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Okay, Paul, let's lead into Rosanna's fun fact.
All right. Let me just get everything ready here. And I'll do my share thing. As soon as I find it. Share screen. There we go. All right, and this is this week's
Rosanna's fun fact.
Hey, welcome back, Rosanna, for another absolutely fun fact. And tonight's going to be kind of fun and it's kind of fitting, as it always is with Rosanna's fun facts. So let's get right into it. Rosanna writes, "Hi, Paul. We were gallivanting about in the time machine over the past few Sundays, Some weird and unusual space fun facts crossed into my email. The first might come under the category, be careful, you never know who is listening, or the reverse of that, as my mother would warn, don't eavesdrop, you might misinterpret things not meant for your ears. So on June the 13th, the world was momentarily surprised, and let me just get rid of this here first. There we go. Was momentarily surprised and then worried as audio was sent out by NASA about an injured crew member aboard the International Space Station. Oh no, was it fake news? No, this audio was sent to out to the live stream by mistake. What, me? I'm fine. Don't I look fine? Everything's fine. This audio was inadvertently misrouted from the ongoing simulation where the crew members and the ground teams train for various scenarios in space and is not related to the real emergency, the ISS said. The International Space Station crew members were in their sleep period at the time. All remain healthy and safe, and tomorrow's spacewalk will start at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time as planned. Oh, there we go. So the spacewalk did take place, and one of the images from it became APOD's pick of the day for June the 14th. And there was the picture of the day. Now, what's interesting about this, here is Bruce McCandless floating free of any tethers using nitrogen gas thrusters. Then this ingenious cutie popped up in the inbox. This is the world's first wooden satellite. Now, this wooden satellite was built by researchers at Kyoto University in collaboration with logging company Sumitomo Forestry. The tiny satellite named Lingosat is made from magnolia wood and will be launched to the International Space Station in September 2024. From there, Lingosat will be released to test its strength and durability. Now, the benefit of wooden construction is that the material will burn up completely when the device re-enters the atmosphere, potentially providing a way to avoid generating metal particles when a retired satellite returns to Earth. Most interesting. Now, moving on, how about this space snapshot? This week marks the 30th anniversary of a celestial event that awed and astonished observers. Between July 16th and July 22nd, 1994, fragments of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 crashed into Jupiter's southern hemisphere, leaving the brownish scars you see in the top left of this view of the planet from the Hubble Space Telescope. The largest of these scars, the central dark spot surrounded by the ring of dark material, was estimated to be around 12,000 kilometers or 7,500 miles in diameter, which is roughly the size of the Earth. Now, while sorting through my Gmail inbox, I was also sorting through and listening to a stack of LPs and had been gifted to me. I am the person that people love to drop off boxes of books and music, knowing I will find homes for their stuff. This is a regular occurrence and is my excuse for ignoring housework. Thank goodness that this box of goods arrives. I almost started cleaning the house. My home is the new home for this find. And this find is, and many of you will remember it, maybe some of you don't. And this first song on the A side is called Spaceship Superstar, which was the first official single by the Canadian rock band Prism. Now, on Sunday, March the 6th, 2011, Prism's Spaceship Superstars was chosen as the wake-up song for the Space Shuttle Discovery. Oops, a sec here. I have to do this first. Here we go. For the Space Shuttle Discovery crew members. This was a significant point in history, as it was the last day that the crews of Discovery and the International Space Station were together before Discovery returned to Earth in its last mission. Now, the rabbit hole for wake-up songs for astronauts is deep and varied. Following that, there are rabbit holes of space playlists connected to certain astronauts or programs, movies, or just space songs. So what was the first ever wake-up song in space? Guess what it was? Can't guess? It was Hello, Dolly. And imagine an image of Barbara Streisand is in a spacesuit. An image of Barbara Streisand in a spacesuit does not exist. So this, one of Barbie's 65th anniversary dolls, is the next best thing. And that is this week's.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Oh, there you go. Now that was an interesting fun
There you
fact.
go. What do you got here? Yeah, space
Oh,
Barbie.
hey, Kurt.
There you go.
What are you doing with that?
I have one of those.
Yes, AstroZana.
Yes.
That's Rosanna.
Rosanna's got her own Barbie doll. Now that is fantastic.
There you go.
She know.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Rosanna. That was
Thank you, Rosanna.
fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. Spaceship Superstar. I remember well that song. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the stupidest one going.
Oh, I drew a
All
card.
right.
Boom bizarre anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's get quickly to some photos, and then we're gonna call it an evening. I think shortly
We
after.
got 15 minutes yet.
Oh, we do. Gee, we do. Look at that.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of
We'll
photos?
slow you through some photos, and how's that?
Run them in slow-mo. Okay.
All right, let's open them up here first of all. Weird.
While you're doing that, just reminding people who are in our local area or in the Atlantic region at all, that coming up on August the 9th and 10th is the Mount Carlton Star Party. And hopefully you'll find me, Mike, and Chris there, and a whole bunch of other astronomers having a nice time, ready and willing and able to welcome you to the astronomy field full of telescopes, and a good time to be had by all, even if the skies aren't clear. So that one's coming up then. And then a couple of weeks later, we'll be back at the Fun Day Stargaze in Fun Day Park in New Brunswick. And that one will be on August the 30th and 31st. And that's the one that's probably the biggest one in the province for the year. And that's always a great time. It's nonstop from Friday night right till Sunday morning. It's nonstop astronomy activities. So don't forget that. And also, anybody who comes to the Star Party is going to receive one of these 2024 Night Owl Sky Almanac books written by Nicole Mortellaro. How do you say that? Mortellaro. There we go. Mortellaro. And this was supplied to us to give away to all of our Star Party attendees from the good folks at Firefly Books. So thank you so much for that. And anybody who gets this book can use it immediately at the Star Parties, because there's tons and tons and tons of information in here, everything from telescopes to what's up in the night sky. In fact, in the month that we're going to be here at the Star Party. So thank you, Firefly Books, for that opportunity for our great folks that are going to visit us at the Star Parties here in New Brunswick.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be seeing a
On
lot
the
of stuff.
23rd of August.
Hmm?
On the 23rd of August, we have the first of 4 outreach nights at the Irving Nature Park.
There you go. Yes.
What's the focus on that night, Kurt? What's the moon phase or?
Actually, it's around, let's see. Well, that's not too bad. Almost full.
Almost full. Yeah, so we got Saturn's up at that. Saturn actually is opposition in September, I think, this year.
I guess it might still be in August.
August, okay. At opposition, yeah, okay.
August, yeah.
And Jupiter's, I think it's October. So both those will be nice targets for sure. Those are always the big favorites at the eyepiece. Okay, let's go with a few photos then. Still looking for an update on that C2023 A32 Sichuan Atlas, the comet that's supposed to be coming through. Shuchen-Chan, I think it's called. Not seeing much. I heard a report just about a week ago that somebody had put out an article saying that from all the data that they had seen, that it was breaking up or was about to break up. But then another one disputed that just the other day, saying that no, what they're seeing is a fairly good tail, and the material coming off is still good size. It's still about 10.3 magnitude. So they had expected it to brighten quite a bit, I think, by this time. Is that true, Kurt? Or
Actually, not until about now. I saw it with my 8 inch a few months ago. I
okay,
was going through Virgo. It was right around 10th magnitude at that time. But it's the orientation made it brighter. And as it changed the orientation from our point of view, it dimmed a bit, the less reflection.
okay.
And we've been sticking around 10.5 there for a while. It should be getting brighter here shortly.
So it's in Leo, I think now. In it's
Yeah,
moving into Leo, or it's in Leo and moving
yes.
away. I mean, it's October, I believe, when it rounds the sun, and then we're supposed to see it in about mid-October in our evening sky, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And
So
around there, they're predicting it could be daytime with binoculars.
wow, yeah. So about Meg 4, Meg 3, somewhere around there, they're saying maybe
Yeah,
with a nice tail.
even brighter than that.
Nice.
I remember
Nice.
seeing McNaughton daytime in binoculars,
Wow.
2006. Paul Gray and Catherine saw it naked eye.
Oh,
It's
really?
Yeah, they had a clear sky down here. It was a little bit milky,
Yeah.
and just couldn't quite pick it up. I had it in binoculars.
Oh, nice. Well, we're due. It's been a while, right? So
Yeah.
That's the
And
milky.
September 8th is the opposition for Saturn.
September 8th. Okay, awesome. That's the best viewing for it. Chichen Atlas, yeah, might not be falling apart according to space weather. Yeah, so that's what I had heard about too, just recently. So anyway, we're just fingers crossed for a good show. Late October or early, I guess, middle October for us. Okay, let's get back to some photos then. Let me share my screen. Got a few here to share tonight. And it should be up there now, I think.
Yep.
Okay, this one's coming in from David Samard. Nice moon capture from the other night. Well done, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Looks good.
And he's contributed another one here from this is from his Sea Star. Last night window, he said a bit of a clouds and strong winds, M81 and M82, and 19 minutes stacking. And still need more data. He said the image was not quite processed. So, and he had Andromeda here as well.
Oh, they're standing out there.
Yeah, sure is. Nice stuff, David.
Yeah.
Gonna move on here to Kathy Adams, captured July 19th of the moon.
Yeah.
Nice and crisp.
Very.
And I got a capture of her for the Dumbbell Nebula, as we talked about there tonight.
Yeah.
It's colorful there too.
Well, the colors are gorgeous.
2 nights in a row, she said, "Be still my heart." I combined 2 nights again for the trifid, about 3.5. Oh, that's the dumbbell. Here's a trifid. Combined 2 nights, she said, for the trifid, about 3.5 hours of integration time.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Detail on the dark lines there. That's nice.
Yeah.
And she's got this one with the Eastern Veil too. Brought in more detail. She had an Eastern Veil Nebula as well. So that's a great target.
Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. The bat's on one end of it, eh?
Yeah. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, I'm going to go into Robert Gadet's capture here of the Pickering's Triangle in the Veil Nebula Complex. Approximately an hour and 30 minutes exposure, he says, using the Sea Star S50, processed in serial and Photoshop. The sun was starting to shine on my screen, so I might have to reprocess, but this is his reprocessed one. So well done, Robert.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And his sun shot back on lunch break on July 19th, 2024, 45% of 1,600 frames stacked with Auto Stacker 4. IMPPG and Photoshop to finish edits. Sea Star S50 white light filter. Zoom in for details. Yeah, you can.
So there's a ton of sunspots.
Oh yeah, it was 17 the other day. I don't know if that was the most on this cycle or not.
I don't know, but it just it looks like somebody peppered the sun.
It's this one here, I think right now, AR70, is it 2751? That's showing the possibility for X flares. So still very active for sure. I don't know if we must be getting close to the peak, Kurt, I think, eh?
You never know. In fact, we won't know probably till a few months after.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, fingers crossed for some more aurora, like that May 5th show. We'll never get a show like that again. Well, maybe we will.
Hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. This one's from Brad Perry. So Brad says, hi, Chris. He says, hope you're having a great summer. Just sharing a couple of photos from past week or so. It's been a busy summer, so it's been nice to have had a couple of opportunities to get out and shooting again. One photo was of the Milky Way near Mactaquac in the early hours of July 15th.
Beautiful reflection.
Get some nice captures there. Good old Prancing Pony sitting right out there. Can everybody see that Prancing Pony? Now, once you see that Prancing Pony, you can't not see it.
Yeah. And if you take the front legs of the pony, if you will, and keep to your right, then that'll take you right to the Roa Fucus complex.
Right. Yeah.
I love the reflection on the water.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
The
Nice
bigger
stuff.
stars tend to bloat a lot in the water, so you might not see a whole lot of the small ones, but the big ones really pop. So if there's any kind of constellation that you're trying to get in a reflection in the water, if the stars are relatively big, they'll pop right out.
Even the Milky Ways.
In fact, usually better than what they are in the sky.
Even the Prancing Ponies reflected in the water.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Nice stuff, Red. Thanks. And he got this one here last night. He said the second photo is of the full moon last night, July 20th in downtown Fredericton. This one is a rare case where it wasn't the photo I had planned out, and I was on my way back to the car when I just happened to spot this opportunity to align the moon with the people at the top of this lighthouse restaurant.
Nice
That's
catch.
awesome.
Yeah. Well
Very
done.
nice.
Always get some great shots. Thanks, Brad. Now, I'm going to step up to
Oh, jeez.
Mr. Meek Powell,
Oh,
capture of the dumbbell
The apple core. Yeah.
apple core, yeah.
here.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit on that.
I hadn't opened the roof in quite a while, so when I took the opportunity, I mean, that thing's virtually straight up when I was shooting it, so it was a nice, easy target, and yeah, just fun to shoot.
That's the one that we saw, Mike, in Funday when we were using the bino viewers,
Yep.
Yeah.
because it's so bright that it's just when you're observing it through optics, it looks like that. Not as you don't see the color, but you
Right.
see the definition of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It looks more like an apple core than a dumbbell, but yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they don't work for me. Anyway, I wish they did.
Just use one eye.
Do not use binos. Yeah.
A one-eyed bino viewer. That's good.
Wouldn't be binos then, would they?
Yeah, Mike and I are bino buds.
Yeah. Bino buds. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let's go from there then to this one here. To
Oh, that was the other one. Yeah, the double cluster.
double cluster.
It never gets old either.
No, that's, you know what, in binoculars, that's probably the nicest thing to look at.
Is it ever?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Stands
That-
right out.
yeah. They fit nicely in binoculars.
There are so many stars in there.
Now, where's the smiley face?
And under a dark enough sky, it's naked eye. You can actually see that.
There it
Oh
is.
yeah.
That cluster.
I never went looking for
Double
the
close
planet.
clusters, I should say.
Well, I think it's. Oh, where's I'm looking for the cowboy.
There's so many smiley faces up there.
Where's the cowboy at? He's in there too, I think.
Good question.
Can't quite make him out there. What were you using for a scope, Mike, and camera?
That's my Orion 110 that I got off of Paul, and the camera's a 294 MC Pro from ZWO. Now I've got a duo filter in there. That probably throws the colors off a little bit, but once I put that filter in, and every shot I've taken, I've never taken it out.
Now, isn't that the cowboy right there? That the head and arms and then the two legs?
Oh yeah, you might be
Oh,
right.
yeah. Is it
Sideways.
upside down?
Turn your head to the side, yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Right on.
So you got
That's
two
it.
arms at the side. He's got He's
Yeah, that's it.
I'm quite sure that's it. If Emma's on here, she can let us know. Dan says, Mike, make sure that your new observatory deck is above the high water line.
Yeah, I've already ordered my boat cleats for it. So
I see that. and the capture of the moon.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
that was just handheld with my 600 millimeter lens.
Yes, sir. Handheld, yeah.
Nice.
Mr. Owen,
That's
Yes, sir.
gorgeous.
capture of last night's moon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was at the Gondola Point ferry landing, just in those who are familiar with the Rosse area, Rosse, St. John. And yeah, it was just coming. I knew it was coming up, and I wanted to put some houses in the foreground or something in the foreground, just to give it that moon illusion effect, just to show you how big it really looks when it's coming up in the sky. And yeah, it never disappoints.
Awesome. And this one from the reflection. So yeah, there's more to Mr. Owen there than astrophotography for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that shot, it's funny because that was the same morning. I stayed up almost 24 hours to do this, but I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get on the river to get the sun up then, and it's really early in the morning. And yeah, it was just, you got that golden hour, got that golden glow, and it was just the river fog was just perfect. And I got right down on the boat as close as I could get to the water to get that shot. And yeah, so it was just a magical morning for sure.
Fantastic. And I know a lot of people on there may not know, but Paul does a lot of wildlife shots too. So
Yeah.
this one, yeah. Oh, well, poor fish.
You
I
should,
don't know. The Osprey's happy.
Yeah, he's really happy. Yeah.
what's
You
even
can
more
go
cool
look
than
at it.
that is actually watch the osprey hit the water. Because when they dive, I've got some shots which I haven't posted yet, but I've got them actually in dive mode, and he hits the water, and the splash that they make is just unbelievable. And then it looks like they're fighting because they've got to move their wings to re-emerge from the water. And there's a shot I got of him with just the fish's head and just him just starting to poke up out of the water.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's amazing.
But it's just so amazing to watch the wildlife out there. It's unbelievable. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah,
It's a nice fish.
you can see the little guts coming off the fish. Poor
Yeah.
little,
Poor little guy. Yeah.
but he's gonna be breakfast very soon. So
Very soon. Yeah. These guys just look so much like Jurassic Park type creatures to me.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
G.
they've got a prehistoric look to them, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do. Yeah.
That's just proof pterodactyl was real. Yeah.
Yeah, more hair than I got.
They're a beautiful, beautiful bird to watch, and they're so graceful when they fly. You know, you wouldn't think something that big can get.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
It's like watching one of those big Lancasters take off.
Yes, sir. Nice shots, Paul.
Thanks.
Let's a quick look at what's happening. So we got Mercury at its greatest eastern elongation tomorrow evening, which means it's the farthest east in our western sky that it can be. So it's not as high as it can be, but it is it's farthest east. So should be able to pick it out, Kurt. You've been picking it out almost every night, I guess, right?
Well, been foggy a lot. I
Yeah,
tried a
well.
couple nights ago.
Right. Yeah. So try to get it to tomorrow night because I think it's cloud and showers the rest of the week.
Oh no.
Yeah, it is right through till Friday, I think, or Saturday. Anyway, that's tomorrow evening. And for those of you who have clear sky, the waning gibbous moon and Saturn will be together on Wednesday evening at midnight. This is Wednesday at midnight, but they both rise about the same time. So get out and have a look at beautiful waning crescent moon near our ring beauty Saturn. And for those who like to follow through, here's the July-August calendar that Kurt puts out for us. It's a nice 6-week period here. It takes us right into August. Mid-August here. Mount Carlton Star Party, as Paul mentioned, here it is on August the 10th, 9th, 10th weekend. This week here coming up, we had Mercury greatest eastern elongation. The moon rises near Saturn, and then next week, moon is near Mars. There's some nice shadow transits here. We can look these up too. We'll talk about these next week. St. John Astronomy Club meeting on the 3rd. And you can find this calendar at sjastronomy.ca, or you can find it at rasknb.ca, either site.
Oh, Chris, somebody called me up and asked about the St. John Astronomy Club meetings, and he wanted to bring a telescope up to have somebody look at possibly doing something with a solar filter. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm glad that you made mention of the day, because I told them that was the first Saturday for those who are in our local area that want to join or at least come and attend one of the St. John Astronomy Club meetings. They are the first Saturday of every month at the Rockwood Park Interpreter Center at 7 o'clock, correct?
Right. Yeah, right beside Lily Lake, the duck pond, where it used to be the duck pond by Lily Lake there. So we'll
Yeah.
put it there.
Follow the fountain.
Yeah, fall fountain. Yeah, the meetings are open and free to everybody, and so yeah, we have a pretty good time with them. Okay, and from there we go to this one, Lisa's Lookup, Lisa's page, Lisa's Lookup Astronomy and More, it's called, and you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon, and now on Threads. You can find her Ruby Moonbeam. So Lisa puts out this event list every month, and here's the dates of the events coming up, the peak times for the events, and your seeing tools, what you require: naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. So right down into the Delta Aquariid meteor shower. So you can find her again at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, and Facebook. And that's what we have. So if you have any photos, bring them in for next week, because next week is our final program before our break. So you can send them into astronomybybay@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to share them on the next broadcast.
There you go.
There you go.
And we had a discussion tonight before the show about the full moon. So for those who want to get out and get the full moon, I guess it's full moon too tonight.
Yeah. So we think that the full moon actually turned full this morning at 7:17 Atlantic time.
Yeah.
So it's full tonight, but I mean, last night, tonight, tomorrow night, they're all going to appear pretty well the same. Also,
Yeah.
the moon makes a shallow angle at this time of year too, so it's only about a half an hour between times, somewhere between 25 and 35 minutes over the next several nights that the moon will be coming up. So you don't have to wait that hour or a little bit more each time for the moon to rise. So you've
Oh,
got
the
that.
purple moon. If a blue moon is 2 full moons in a month, this is a purple moon is 2 full moons in a weekend.
There you go. And the harvest moon coming up in September. Actually, this full moon is one of the last, I'll call, regular moons. I know nobody likes this term, but super moons are the next 4 months
Mhm.
of August, September, October, November, and then we're back to a regular size moon. Right, Kurt? He likes
I
this.
don't pay any attention to that.
Come on now. Anyway, we're back to a regular moon again in December. So and then September, our harvest moon is going to be during a penumbral eclipse. So a small, short eclipse coming up, just penumbral, not the full eclipse. The full one comes up in March of next year, along with a partial solar eclipse that we're going to be talking about a whole lot of when we come back. So that's it for that. I just need a second here to open up my pausing. There it is. Okay. I think that's good. And so that's our show then for this evening. Close this one, close that one. Here we go. A reminder now that next week's program will be our last program until we return in mid-September. It's going to take a little bit of a break to do some public outreach. We've got some Star Party events coming up. We've got some events coming up locally as well. So we want to take part in those too. So, and that helps us to do all that. So we hope you enjoyed the program here tonight. Special thanks again goes out to Kurt Nason for joining us. Kurt, thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you in autumn.
You bet. Absolutely. Special thanks too goes out to Rosanna for her fabulous fun facts segment again. Thank you, Rosanna. Give you a short break as well. We appreciate that. And to all of you who share our program, thank you all. Remember too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into astronomybybay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. And special thanks too goes out to our friends at Rogers for joining us this evening. So until next week, wishing all you clear skies, open your eyes to view the skies, and remember, keep your scopes pointed up. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we'll go out with this one. I think. Should. Oh, I'm not going to go with that one. Hang on a second. Oh, hang on a second. Goodness gracious. Great
This is
ball
a
of
show
fire.
that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends.
Yike. I'll have to take some time over the summer here to practice them, I guess.
Got a mini-me.
Keep your scope pointed up.
Let's try that again. Here we go. And we're sharing our sound too. So here we go. And now we can say goodnight.
Wow, wow. The game, wow, wow.